Brandon left me in college because I was too focused on my career. Said I didn't have time for a relationship, that my ambition was unattractive, that Jessica, who had no career plans, was a better match for him. 10 years later, I'm a partner at a law firm, make $250,000 a year, own a condo in the city, travel internationally, built the life I wanted. Brandon lost his job, going through bankruptcy, living with his parents at 32, and he called me asking for help. Financial advice? Maybe a loan? Maybe a job reference. The irony wasn't lost on me. The career he thought was too important became my success. His choice to avoid ambitious women became his failure. And now he wanted access to the success he'd mocked. My response? You said my ambition was a problem. Turns out it was the solution. Too bad you're not part of it. Before we begin, comment where you're watching from. Enjoy the story. Let me take you back to where it all started. To the breakup that changed everything. Megan Hayes was 21 years old, junior at Boston University, pre-law track, 3.9 GPA, working 2 part-time jobs to pay for school, interning at a law firm on weekends. She barely had time to breathe. But she was building something, a future, a career, a life she could be proud of. Her boyfriend Brandon was also 21, business major, C+ average, no internships, no job, no clear plan beyond graduation. He spent his time partying, playing video games, hanging out with friends. They'd been dating for 2 years, met freshman year, fell in love quickly. But lately, things had been tense. Brandon wanted more time together. Megan was always studying, always working, always planning for the future. One evening in their junior year, Brandon came over to Megan's apartment. We need to talk. Those 4 words that never mean anything good. Okay, what's up? Megan closed her laptop, gave him her attention. This isn't working, Meg. US. This relationship. What do you mean? You're never available. Always working, always studying, always thinking about your career. I need someone who has time for me. I'm building a future, Brandon. I have to work this hard to get into a good law school. But you don't have to work this hard. You could ease up. Spend more time with me. With us. I can't ease up. This is important. My career is important. That's the problem. Your career is more important than me, than us. I can't be with someone who puts work before everything else. I put work before everything because I'm 21 and broke and trying to build a life. What are you doing? Playing Call of Duty? That's not fair. Isn't it? I'm working towards something. You're just coasting. Brandon's face hardened. You know what? I met someone else. Jessica. She actually has time for a relationship. She's not obsessed with work. She's fun. Present. Everything you're not. Megan felt like she'd been punched. You're leaving me for someone else? I'm leaving you because you're too ambitious. Because you care more about your career than about me. Jessica is different. She gets it. Gets what? That you want someone with no goals? No plans? Someone who'll just be available for you 24/7? I want someone who knows how to balance life and work. You don't. Brandon left. Walked out of Megan's apartment. Out of her life. With parting words that would haunt her. Your ambition is going to leave you alone, Meg. No one wants to be second to a career. Megan cried for days. Missed classes, couldn't eat, couldn't sleep. Her roommate Sarah finally intervened. You need to get it together. Brandon isn't worth this. He said I'm too ambitious, that my career will leave me alone. He's an idiot. Your ambition is going to make you successful. His laziness is going to make him miserable. Don't let him make you feel bad for having goals. But Megan did feel bad. For weeks. Months. She'd lost the person she thought she'd marry, and according to him, it was because she wanted too much, worked too hard, cared too much about her future. 6 months after the breakup, Megan saw Brandon and Jessica around campus, happy, laughing. Brandon had his arm around Jessica, looked content, looked like he'd made the right choice. Megan felt the knife twist, but something else happened too. Something shifted. Megan decided that if Brandon was right, if her ambition was going to leave her alone, she might as well make that ambition count for something. She threw herself into her work, got a 4.0 that semester, and the next, and the next. Applied to 10 law schools, got into 7, chose Columbia, top 5 program. When she graduated from undergraduate, Brandon was there. Different ceremony time, but same day. Megan saw him across the lawn. He waved. She didn't wave back. 3 years of law school were brutal. Megan worked harder than she'd ever worked. Studied until 2 a.m., took on extra internships, competed for law review, made it. Graduated 3rd in her class, got job offers from 5 top firms, chose Kirkland and Ellis. Starting salary, $190,000. She was 25 years old. At 27, she made junior partner, youngest in the firm's history. Salary jumped to $250,000. At 28, she bought a condo in Manhattan. At 29, she was managing major corporate cases. At 30, she was thriving. Partner, successful. Built the exact life she'd been working toward when Brandon told her she was too ambitious. She'd dated casually over the years. Nothing serious. Focused on her career. Building her life. Becoming the person she'd always wanted to be. And then, 10 years after Brandon left her, her phone rang. Unknown number. She almost didn't answer. Hello? Megan? It's Brandon. 10 years. 10 years of silence. And now this voice from her past. Brandon, why are you calling? I've been thinking about you. About us. How things ended. That was 10 years ago. Why now? Because I made a mistake. A huge mistake. Leaving you was the worst decision of my life. Megan sat down. This conversation needed her full attention. Go on. Jessica and I got married right after graduation. It was a mistake. We weren't compatible. She didn't push me, didn't challenge me. I got comfortable, lazy, stopped trying. And? We divorced 3 years ago. I lost my job last year. Corporate downsizing. Haven't found anything since. I'm living with my parents. At 32, I'm broke, going through bankruptcy. And I realized you were right about everything. Megan listened, processed. So you're calling me because your life fell apart? I'm calling because I miss you. Because I've been thinking about what could have been if I hadn't been so stupid. What could have been? Brandon, you left me because I was too ambitious. Because I worked too hard. Because my career mattered to me. I know, and I was wrong. Your ambition, your drive, that's what made you successful. I should have supported you. Should have worked harder myself. Instead, I chose easy. Chose comfort. And it destroyed me. What do you want from me? Long pause. I was hoping we could reconnect. Maybe give us another try? Megan laughed. Actually laughed. You're kidding. I'm not. I know I hurt you. But people change. I've changed. I see things differently now. You've changed because you're broke. If you were still successful, you wouldn't be calling me. That's not fair. Isn't it? You left me when I was building my career. Told me my ambition was unattractive. Now I'm successful and you're broke, and suddenly you want me back? That's not change, Brandon. That's desperation. I do need help, he admitted. Financial help. Maybe you could loan me some money? Or give me a job reference? You're connected now, a partner at a big firm. You could help me get back on my feet. And there it was. The real reason for the call. Let me get this straight. You called me after 10 years, pretended you wanted to reconnect. But really, you just want money? I do want to reconnect. But yes, I also need help. And I thought, since you're doing so well, you could afford to help me. You're right. I can afford it. I make $250,000 a year. I own my apartment. I'm doing very well. You know why? Because you're smart and hardworking. Because I didn't let you stop me. When you left me, you said my ambition would leave me alone, that no one wants to be second to a career. You were wrong. My ambition made me successful, made me independent, made me the person I am today. And the person I am today doesn't help men who left her for being too ambitious. Megan, please. You made a choice 10 years ago. You chose Jessica because she didn't have career goals, because she'd be available, because she wouldn't challenge you to be better. That choice led you here. Broke. Living with your parents. Asking your ex-girlfriend for money. Those are the consequences of your choice. So you won't help me? No, Brandon. I won't. You told me my ambition was a problem. Turns out it was the solution. To everything. My success, my happiness, my life. Too bad you're not part of it. That's cold. That's reality. You don't get to leave someone when they're building their life and come back when they've built it. That's not how this works. I made a mistake. People make mistakes. They do. And people live with the consequences. This is yours. Good luck, Brandon. Megan hung up, blocked the number, sat in her beautiful apartment in Manhattan, the apartment she'd bought with money from the career Brandon said was too important. And she felt nothing. No satisfaction, no anger, just indifference. Brandon was a ghost from her past, someone who'd taught her an important lesson, that the people who leave you when you're working hard don't deserve you when you're successful. A week later, Megan's roommate from college, Sarah, called. Did you hear about Brandon? What about him? He's been messaging people from college, asking for money, said he was going through hard times. Apparently, he called you too? He did. Asked for a loan. I said no. Good. You know what else I heard? He's telling people you're cold, that you refuse to help an old friend. An old friend who left me for being too ambitious and only called because he needs money. Yeah, I'm the cold one. People are on your side. Everyone remembers how he treated you, how he left you for Jessica because you worked too hard. It doesn't matter what people think. I know the truth. Brandon made his choices. I made mine. His led to bankruptcy. Mine led to success. That's the story. 2 months after Brandon's call, Megan ran into Jessica, Brandon's ex-wife, at a coffee shop in Brooklyn. Megan? Megan Hayes? Jessica, hi. Awkward silence. I heard Brandon called you, asked for money. He did. I said no. Good. He called me too. His parents, his friends, everyone he knows. He's desperate. What happened to him? How did he end up like this? He never grew up, never took anything seriously, lost his job because he wasn't performing, spent money we didn't have, put us in debt. I divorced him 3 years ago because I couldn't watch him self-destruct anymore. That must have been hard. It was. But you know what's funny? After we got married, he'd talk about you sometimes, about how driven you were, how ambitious. He'd say it like it was a bad thing, but I could tell he regretted leaving you. Really. He compared me to you constantly, said you were always working toward something, always had a plan. I didn't have those things. And eventually he resented me for it. Resented me for being exactly what he'd wanted. Someone without ambition. That's ironic. It is. He left you for not having enough time for him. Left me for not having enough drive. He doesn't know what he wants. And now he's paying for it. 3 years after Brandon's call, Megan was at a college reunion. 10-year reunion. Lots of familiar faces. Lots of catching up. Brandon was there. Megan saw him across the room. He looked older, tired, worn down by life. He saw her too. Started to approach. Megan considered leaving, but decided to stay. Face this moment. Megan, you look great. Thanks. You look tired. I am. Life's been rough. I heard. I'm sorry about that phone call. 3 years ago. I shouldn't have asked you for money. No, you shouldn't have. I was desperate. Made a lot of bad choices. Just wanted you to know I regret it. Okay. And I regret leaving you. Back in college. That was the biggest mistake of my life. You've said that. I mean it. You were the one. I just didn't realize it until it was too late. Megan looked at him. Really looked at him. Saw the boy she'd loved, the man he'd become, and felt nothing. Brandon, I'm going to tell you something, and I need you to really hear it. Okay. You leaving me was the best thing that ever happened to me. What? I mean it. When you left, you said my ambition would leave me alone, that no one wants to be second to a career. You made me feel like my goals were a problem, like wanting success was unattractive. I was wrong. You were. But you leaving made me prove it, made me work harder, push further, become more. If you'd stayed, I might have compromised, might have eased up, might have made myself smaller to make you comfortable. Instead, I became bigger, better, successful, everything I wanted to be. So thank you for leaving, for showing me that the right person won't ask me to choose between them and my dreams. Brandon looked devastated. I'm happy for you. Really, you deserved all of this. I did. And I worked for it. That's the difference between us, Brandon. I worked for my success. You waited for yours to happen. And when it didn't, you called me asking for mine. That's not how life works. I know that now. Good. Learn from it. Work for what you want. Don't expect other people to give it to you, especially people you left behind. Megan walked away, rejoined her friends, celebrated a decade of success. Brandon watched from across the room, the one who got away. Except he hadn't lost her. He'd thrown her away. And now he lived with that choice every day. 5 years after that reunion, Megan was still thriving, made equity partner, $400,000 a year, engaged to another attorney, someone who matched her ambition, challenged her, supported her, someone who never asked her to choose between love and career, because the right person knows you can have both. At her engagement party, someone asked about her ex. Whatever happened to that guy who left you in college? Last I heard, he's still figuring things out, still living with his parents, still asking people for help instead of helping himself. Do you ever think about what could have been? No, because what is so much better than what could have been. He left me for not having time for a relationship. Turns out, I just didn't have time for him. The right person wouldn't have made me choose, wouldn't have made my ambition a problem, would have celebrated it. And you found that person? I did. It just wasn't the person I thought it would be. And that's okay. Better? Even. 7 years after Brandon's call, Megan had everything she'd worked for. Successful career, happy marriage, 2 kids, a life built on her own terms. She rarely thought about Brandon. He was just a chapter, an important one. The chapter that taught her what she wouldn't accept, what she wouldn't compromise, what she was worth. Years later, someone asked Megan, "Do you think Brandon learned anything from all this?" "I don't know. I hope so. I hope he learned that you can't leave people when they're working hard and expect them to be there when you're not. I hope he learned that calling someone too ambitious says more about your lack of ambition than their abundance of it. I hope he learned that the right person won't ask you to choose between them and your dreams. And if he didn't learn, then that's his lesson to keep learning. Not my problem. I moved on, built a life, became who I was meant to be, with or without him. Turns out, without was better. The irony of Brandon's story wasn't that he called Megan asking for help. The irony was that the very thing he'd left her for, her ambition, her drive, her focus on career, was what made her successful enough to help him. And the very thing he'd chosen instead, comfort, ease, lack of drive, was what made him need help. He'd been given a choice, her ambition or his comfort. He chose his comfort, and his comfort led to his failure. She chose her ambition, and her ambition led to her success. 10 years later, he wanted access to her success. But she'd learned something important. You don't owe success to people who left you for trying to achieve it. You don't owe anything to people who made you feel bad for wanting more. Brandon had made his choice. Megan had made hers. His led him to her doorstep, asking for help. Hers led her to a life where she didn't need anyone's help. That's not revenge. That's just consequences. What did you think of Megan's story? Comment below. Rate 0 to 10. Subscribe for more stories about choosing yourself and winning.